We've got last mile experts on location today in the capital of Lockerland, Warsaw, and we are going to show you, surprise, surprise, loads of lockers. I'm going to start with a few that I think are not necessarily in an ideal location, but it's a great place to come because you can see several lockers. The irony is that although you can see probably parked cars all around, it's actually very difficult to get here because there's a barrier. But because of the different lockers here, I wanted to show you this place. So the first one is a one-box Allegro locker. And, you know, I love the fact that although perhaps this isn't the most green location per se, it really fits in the urban landscape with this sort of very green vibe. It's a traditional machine with a screen and the typical features you'd expect, an ability to scan the code, cameras, but come and see a few more. You've got little brother DPD machine retrofitted with a pin pad, and next to each other quite a large Orlen Paczka machine, again with screen scanning capability and also RFID. Cameras again, as you'd expect from a classic machine. And then finally, a DHL machine. What makes this one unusual is, first of all, a very large screen. I'm not entirely sure that's currently best practice, but it also has, of course, a scanner for barcodes and a payment terminal, and that's pretty unusual today. So all in one place, 1, 2, 3, 4 lockers. Unusually, no impost locker, but maybe that's because the location, as I mentioned before, isn't the easiest to get to. You may remember I often talk about my nearest parcel locker, and this is it. But there's something special about this locker. You probably get to see, if you haven't seen already, you'll see on this side of it, there's a little text in green and black saying Apkomat. And this is not a typical locker. It's actually one that works either via app, or if you have a barcode, it can scan it. The benefit, of course, is super low energy usage, but you don't have all the comfort with the screen. For me, I use apps quite a lot, so I'm okay. But this is it. Interestingly, I took a look, and although you might get to see the solar panels, which are quite significant on top, and I think you'll get to see them right now, but it also has normal 230 volt power. The funny thing I'll mention, which I think is really important, even though it is a low energy machine, it has something very important, a camera. So, welcome to Marek's neighborhood parcel locker, or Apkomat. Looking forward to showing you more. We've seen my nearest Apkomat, or app-based parcel locker, and this is my nearest classic locker. Pretty big, as you'll see, but I wanted to share a couple of features that I think are really cool. So first of all, and I believe genuinely that InPost actually were the first to do this, they've created very narrow cells for small parcels, and it allows you to put several more parcels in the locker. And the other thing that's interesting, very early on, InPost realized that to get the maximum capacity out of a locker like this, you can have multi-parcel cells, or what they call multi-skrytka. I'm not sure how good your Polish is, but when you look at this here, it basically says, dear customer, there could be several parcels in your locker, so make sure you've taken them all out. It's all part of making these machines as efficient and effective as possible. And, you know, I often say Poland is Lockerland. It's where all this stuff is tested and often comes first. So I'm really delighted to be able to show you this sort of, maybe not physically, but at least in video. So let's wait, and now we'll have, in a minute, the next machine. So I wanted to show you this machine, or actually set of machines, because they're quite interesting. And the two interesting things about it, first of all, there's a lot of locker cells here, and you can see you've got one L-shaped machine, which I think you're probably seeing right now. But then if we pan to the right, we've got another extended machine, and I think what happened here is the pavement stopped, so they had to split it into two parts. And I remember I actually had to pick up a parcel here once. I was trying to work out whether this column or these columns were part of that machine or the other. It's actually that machine. And it works pretty well because it really does give a lot of capacity. So imposter, anything other than not being creative. So here we've got a 2-for-1 locker package combo. You've got Orlen Paczka locker, which is of course part of Allegro delivery, but also it is the main locker partner for GLS. The locker machine itself has a screen, also has barcode reading capability. I'm not sure if it's really used, but you have RFID card reading as well. It's a sort of mid-sized classic machine. And let's have a look at its little sister next door, which is a DPD machine. One thing that's worth noting, it's been retrofitted with a pin pad. So the original machine would have been app only, but for people who either have an issue with the app or just prefer a pin pad, you've got a capability to open it with a pin pad. It's a lot smaller. My personal view is that these machines are better sorted to less frequented areas, maybe rural and smaller places, but the policy for DPD in Poland has been to put as many of these as possible in situ. So that's the next stop in your Lockerland tour. Keep watching for more. So here we've got actually quite an early locker, and I'll share with you some of the features, including the old branding. But it's in a petrol station location, a pretty good one because it's within an urban residential area, but with great access parking right next to a Lidl store. So honestly, it's about as good as it gets. But let me show you, because I think this is really cool, the original central element. So not only have you got a pin pad with card payment capability, you've got an ability to pay by touch, you've got a screen, and you've got the old InPost logo, Nowoczesna Poczta. You don't see much of that around. The only other thing I wanted to show you here is that this is actually quite an old machine that has been upgraded with a new set of columns. But before we leave, one final thing. I'm going to show you something that isn't there. Here, you can see that something until fairly recently must have been in this place, and this was one of InPost's refrigerated lockers. I was never a big believer in that concept, and as you can see, I think I wasn't too far from being right. I'm not sure when they removed it, but certainly fairly recently, because the grass hasn't grown back. So this is the closest you're going to get to an InPost refrigerated locker in this part of Warsaw anyway. Got something special to show you right now. This is, believe it or not, an old Tajniał machine that was probably blue originally. It's been rebranded to DHL, took over the machine. It's actually quite old now, but it does have a scanner. It's even got speakers here and a very large screen. We can talk at some stage about why large screens are not necessarily as good as they might be. But one other interesting thing in this area, it's a commercial area very close to a lot of residential buildings, and if you come this way you'll see that everybody wants to be here because you've got not only InPost, DPD with their newer white locker that stands out a bit more, Orlen Paczka, and something that actually I have not seen. So this is the first time I've seen an Uni locker. Let's have a look at it. Well, I won't be able to show you much because it's apparently not working. But anyway, here you go. Unlimited mobility, not quite mobile today.